Hey, this is Zack with Genzio Media. Super excited to be speaking with Natalia, who is a decentralization coordinator at Metis, a title that I find absolutely fascinating and I think is very unique to Web3. So I'd love to dive more into your background and a little bit about what that actually means.
Hey guys, nice being here. Thank you for listening. Thank you for having me. Decentralization coordinator. I agree with you. Very cool. And I think it should be a much more spread out title in our space, because I think that's the reason why in the beginning we all got together. When Bitcoin was launched, one of the key premises was that you own your money and nobody can take them away from you. You are your own bank. But in order for not anybody being able to take it away from you, decentralization is needed so that no single centralized entity owns the blockchain and cannot take it over. So we really need to be paying attention to that. And I think very frequently it's overlooked. And at Metis, we find that this is one of the very big focus of ours, to the point that we have several people with the same title as mine.
Oh, wow. So even decentralizing the role of decentralization.
Absolutely.
That's super interesting. And
very good observation.
And for Metis,
no single point of failure, right?
Yeah, very smart, very Web3 approach. Just kind of getting into Metis a bit for our audience who doesn't know, what is Metis?
So Metis is a layer 2 solution which was designed to scale Ethereum. There are many layer 2 solutions. As you know, there are now layer 2 solutions on Bitcoin too, so it's very common these days, right? And the goal is really to scale blockchains. So Metis started 5 years ago, and the goal was to build a space where individuals can come in and they can contribute, they can build their projects, they can collaborate, and all without anyone being able to control it, without the third-party interference. So that's when the Metis Andromeda chain, which is our main blockchain until this date, have been launched. And it's a general-purpose blockchain. It's permissionless completely. Anyone can come and deploy whatever they want on it. We have no whatsoever control over it. And we've been working very hard to decentralize that as well. And one of the approaches that we took is with the decentralized sequencers. We are the only L2 blockchain that actually has implemented decentralized sequencer network on our chain. And what it means is that there is no single entity holding control of your main wallet. Right? And we have, to me, that's one of the key premises of decentralization. So it's obviously also helps with blockchain uptime, but most importantly, it's really makes sure that there is no single point of failure, and it eliminates centralization risks as well. So this is Andromeda, which have been, as I was saying, alive for the last 4 to 5 years, right? Recently we started to look at, and recently there has been like a lot of activity in AI and Web3. And we started kind of looking at our industry and looking at the AI space. And we saw some glaring gaps in AI space. And we thought that we need to take kind of coordinated, concentrated approach to solving these issues. You know, what we see happening in the industry is, some people launch their agents, some people try to kind of, call APIs, but we thought that what will be really game-changing if we brought the AI on-chain. To do that, however, is not a simple task, because there is no blockchain today that can handle the demands or computational demands of AI pretty much.
It's insane.
Yeah.
Most Web2 companies are struggling.
Exactly. And so what we thought is that we have to start from the ground up. And for that, we launched completely new layer 2, which is called Hyperion. And it's an instant and high throughput AI enable layer 2. What it means is that it provides instant finality to transactions. Is able to handle huge amounts of transactions, and so hence the high throughput. The way it's achieved is through parallelized processing. So instead of in traditional blockchain, you have a jam when a lot of transactions are all coming one after another and that cannot handle the volume. But we are spreading it and running it all in parallel. And the parallel computing allows us to do that. We also, of course, had to create our own modified virtual machine as well to be able to support all that, and our own, let's call it, database. That is also very important for being able to handle the AI data as well. And so with all of that, we have instant high throughput blockchain. Our speed or computational capacity is between 1 and 2 gigagas per second, which is very unprecedented. With that, we think that we have a good foundation or execution layer for something where AI projects can actually start implementing the applications. So, but this is just like applicational layer, right? We also thought that we want to take this decentralization concept, which we find very important, and kind of bring it into AI space. Because let's face it, today AI is extremely centralized. We have a number of huge corporations
AWS
that hoards all the data, which they got for us without asking our permission, by the way.
100%. And sometimes they regurgitate your data to other people.
Exactly. And, they came up with these models for where AI learns from. We are not clear on the process, and it spits out something. All this process has no control over it. Like, we don't have a track record of what exactly happened from the moment that the data enters the space and through the output. And it's essentially all a black box, right? So one of the issues with that is that if you don't know on what is going on with the data, you don't know you don't have clarity and audit trails of the outputs, it's very difficult to assign or accountability or responsibility for AI decisions. So who is at fault? Who is to blame? I'll give you one funny thing about AI, it's wrong more often than we think.
Yeah, hallucinates.
Exactly. Yeah. So I'll give you an example. The other day, I was comparing the weather or the climate in two cities. Let's call it city A and city B. I asked the question, compare the climates in city A and city B. And I was particularly interested in rainfall. Don't ask why.
I'm in Seattle, so it rains all the time. So.
Yeah. And I asked it to ChatGPT, and it came up with a very great summary with the tables by months for every single climate metric, which was wonderful. And then I read through all of it, I studied my rainfall, and then I came to the conclusion that it says. And looking at the data, it looked to me that every single month, the city A was more humid, more wet than city B. And when it came to conclusion, it told me confidently that, in summary, the city B is much more humid and, experience a great amount of rainfall than city A. And I was puzzled, how come? So I asked, in the table that you provided, it looks contrary to that. And to which I got the answer pretty much boiling down to, oopsie, sorry, I made a mistake. Very good of you to notice that. I'm like, it's great humor, but it's good that I'm not basing my life decisions on this information. And so the challenge is that if the mistakes like this happen, and if we integrate AI more and more in our life, in our critical industries, such as healthcare, such as news, legal, finance, you name it.
Can you imagine it saying, like, what bank do I pick? And then it just told you
exactly.
the bank was terrible.
Exactly. And so if I'm going to entrust my livelihood to this, I better know how the decisions are being made. I better have confidence that the data has been verified and the output that it spits out is actually legit, as opposed to some mumbo-jumbo answer that after that it just says oopsie. And as I mentioned before, the problem with oopsie is that it's impossible to assign control to anyone, go to complain to.
Yeah, you can't go to Sam Altman and say like, hey, your ChatGPT is messed up. They're just going to say, oh, maybe.
I'm sure there is 50 pages of disclaimers on legal side there that by choosing the service, I promise that I'm not going to sue anyone.
Yeah. No, it's very interesting. And I do think that blockchain solves a lot of those problems in transparency because, like, as you mentioned, it is a black box right now. And to kind of follow up on your story, I read that, Microsoft employees, other employees were telling all of their company secrets to ChatGPT to try to get better responses. And then, but what would happen is that other people would ask about Microsoft and it would spit up those company secrets because that's how it learns. It learns off the information it's given. Which kind of brings me to my next question, which is how do you balance that privacy with security so that you're getting as much input as possible, but you're still not outputting other people's data or secrets? Because a lot of people use AI for therapy, they use it for other personal reasons. How do you ensure, like on a blockchain, that it remains private while also staying secure?
Yeah, I think it's a very good question. And I think that's one of the things that we're solving with Less AI, which is as I was mentioning, it's a platform which is like a protocol level in our architecture, which is building like a home for AI economy, right? So the way we think about it is we think all the data, the inferences, the outputs. The challenge for that today is it's really not organized, it's not prioritized in any way, it's not priced in any way. It contributes to this problems that we have where sometimes we see misalignment of AI and humans. And we think that by solving the question, how we can to take the AI goals, its processes and its intelligence and convert it into something which is measurable, valued, and also can be distributed like an asset. That's where you kind of start turning the tables a little bit and saying that, and start to create a process of creating of a flywheel. That's really what we want to build. So to step back a little bit, if you think about DeFi in the past, what really got it going is, a premise of you contribute your capital and you get reward for it. And a lot of people jumped on it, right? And the more people jumped on it, the more capital was locked. And the platforms such as Avi, which by the way also was like participant in one of our first hackathons of crypto checks. The platforms like this were able to attract lots of users because people found that they are reliable, well built, well thought out. And they trusted the platform, and it's attracted lots of capital. And it's paid users for providing this capital. People learned about it, and there was more capital coming in, and the story kind of perpetuated itself, creating the whole industry, right? So we had so many more protocols happening. Some of them more successful than the others, and that's why that's where the good metrics are a must in the industry, right? So we have TVL, we have APYs, we have liquidity, and we have all these measures that kind of signal the users what's a reliable, what's good platform, right? So we think that with AI, we also need to establish this self-perpetuating flywheel process by which we attract users who will contribute their data, will contribute their expertise. In return, they get rewarded, and the process continues.
So the same way that, and I remember when it was called Lend, Alve. So I was an OG. Yes. I was OG user there. And that's super cool that it came out of a hackathon or Crypto Chicks, and I definitely want to learn more about that. So you're kind of, I guess my understanding of what you're saying is that the same way people contributed, their liquidity, their funds to earn yield, people can contribute their data into AI to have some kind of reward too?
Yeah, exactly. Okay. And so, we, as part of the Less AI, one of the key innovations is we are introducing this new token standard. It will be called DAT, or Data Anchored Token. So you can think of it as like pieces of data combined with the information about data provenance, like every step of the way, who contributed it, how it was trained, when, who used it, under which circumstances. It's kind of like, some sort of NFT that is holding all this information, and ultimately you are the one who owns the control of it. And you, because this token lives on the blockchain, you can use the smart contract to set up parameters around how to use it. And that's where the concern about the privacy where it comes in, because you would be able to programmatically, with a smart contract on decentralized platform, to say, I think that my data could be used by such and such, or under this and this circumstances.
That's fascinating.
And I want to charge, by the way, this and this for using it.
That's so cool. So like that would prevent like that situation I talked about with Microsoft regurgitating. You'd say like, no, this, what I'm telling you now is private. I do not want it going to other users. But if, for example, you were telling, I don't know, a poetry or a poem or something, and you're like, I'm okay to share this with people if they want to see a poem, you could be rewarded for it.
Yeah, or, if you own art, you can say, I'm okay to distribute it, enjoy it, but if you won't own it, it's a different conversation, right? And so absolutely. And another innovation is we are using the ZK technology to shield your information. Mm-hmm. So it will not be visible, and you can decide who you open to, or who you can open up to, but in general, let's say you're using the AI agent. So they actually can say that, this information is private, and they have built-in ZK properties, which will not allow them to see what the data actually is.
Do you think that AI right now is overhyped or underhyped? Or do you think the reality is somewhere in the middle?
I think that the way AI exists today, in a form of generalized huge models, it's probably overhyped.
Wow. Okay, that's fast. Tell me why.
The reason why is because I personally, and as believe in Metis as well, I see more utility in AI, which is more personalized, more specialized, and more aligned with me, as opposed to some general black box that spits out, some garbage 60% of the time.
Yeah, hallucinating, right? Going crazy.
Yeah. So for that, I believe that we need to kind of pivot to focus on building out different kind of models. They will be smaller models, they will be domain specific, and they will be trained on a high quality data, which has been vetted every step of the way. And we have proof of it in terms of ZK proofs on chain. And that type of data, which align with me and more personalized towards me, is, I find, more valuable than just some generalized model where I don't know if it's for me, or is it going to one day decide to collude and kind of kill me off, I am, of course, exaggerating.
Yeah, no, I understand.
Yeah. So I see the growth to come from that kind of personalization. We can think of it, I think of it as like having a trustworthy advisor who has my best interest at heart and who is my assistant. So I can use it, I can rely on it, but I'm still the one living life.
Yeah. Do you think that there's a world in which AI agents replace things like lawyers, potentially, or artists? And I don't think so, but I mean, there's been a lot of fear around the adoption of AI. People think it's going to make people lose jobs. People think it's going to create a lot of jobs. What is your opinion?
So my opinion is that the truth is somewhere in the middle on this one.
I agree.
Because I think, if you look at any major revolutions that happened in the history of civilization, we had Industrial Revolution, and everybody thought it's the end of the world. All the jobs that people had are going to be no longer there. And it's true.
Yeah.
But in place of those jobs, there was, 100,000 more different ones created, and nobody died, right? I mean, that's a generalization. I'm sure, there was some, but in general, right? I feel that every time there is a technological revolution happening on that scale, yes, it's definitely going to kill off some jobs because they are just better and more efficiently done by technology. But there will be also jobs that maybe we don't know about today. I'm sure some of them we don't know about today. And those type of jobs will be so much more, and will be so much more fun. And I don't think people will be jobless if they don't want to be.
I agree. Like I'm not a very good artist myself. I can't draw or anything. I'm terrible at it, but I love making art through AI, and that's totally opened up like a new experience for me, an ability for me that I wouldn't have had without those tools.
Exactly.
So I find it really, really cool, and I'm very pro adoption of AI. Is it okay if I ask you about Crypto Chicks?
Of course.
Yeah. So what was the story there? What made you want to create Crypto Chicks, and how did that kind of get going?
So what happened is this. My friend and I, my friend Alina Sinelnikova, she's the co-founder of Metis and co-founder of Crypto Chicks as well. She happened to go to a crypto event, and she was like the only one there.
Yeah.
The only one woman there, I mean.
Yeah.
She came back and she's like, I just had this experience. It seems like we need more women in the space. And then we started to, at that point of time, like recently before Ethereum launched, there was a public ICO, and we were playing with that, and we started downloading and installing the Metis official wallet, Mist. And it was just going through this, looping around, and nothing was working. And eventually, I had to ask my son to help out. And
Sons are good for that.
Yeah, exactly. And so after that, we kind of said, okay, so my background and her background, we met at university, and our background is computer science. And we said, if we spend so much time and couldn't figure it out, no wonder so few people in a space. And we decided that we want to change it, every small bit at the time. We decided to organize an organization. We called it Crypto Chicks. And Chicks is not for women, by the way. A lot of people think that Crypto Chicks means like crypto women or something. No. The Chicks suffix actually, because my background is I'm Russian.
I am too.
And as you know, since you are.
I don't speak Russian,
Yeah,
but my
okay.
family.
Okay, yeah, got you. Yeah, so suffix chick in Russian means a little thing.
Okay.
So you can take any noun, you add the suffix, and it becomes little something. And therefore, it really means little crypto, as opposed to, crypto, ladies. So yeah, little fun detail for you. And we decided to start with meetups. So we organized a number of meetups around Toronto, and we were amazed at how much success it was. We had women coming over, aging from like young to ladies who needed help getting, on the stairs. We had very cute couple came in together, and it was so fun to teach them about the Bitcoin wallet, and they were so excited, transferring each other Bitcoin, from test Bitcoin, of course. And it was just very inspiring. And we thought, we're on the right track. We need more. So we started organizing conferences, hackathons around the world. And right now, we kind of, decided that it's all good, but we got to start this education early.
Yes.
And
I started the blockchain club at my school in 2017, and I completely agree. There's a big education gap.
Exactly. I'm glad that you have realization of that through your participation there, right? We partnered now with the Government of Canada. We're recipients of Government of Canada grant, which is for technology. And we're teaching in schools in over all Canada, blockchain and AI and business development. So that's Crypto Chicks.
Oh, I love that. Business development too. That's so interesting. So like, for our audience listeners, you don't necessarily have to be a developer to be in Web3.
Exactly. One of our courses is actually, build your website without coding. Because, that's what business people need, right? Okay, I'm going to start with a website, but I'm not a programmer, so what I'm going to do? So that's one of the courses we have. So it's, like that.
And how has it kind of changed, I think, from the space? Because I think that's fascinating, because if you majored in computer science, there's probably mostly a male-dominated space there as well, I would assume. Can relate to this. My mom is the only VP at her company who's a female, and there's 10 of them, 9 other guys. So I always kind of
congratulations to her.
I know, I always looked up for her for that, but she said it can be really tough sometimes to enter those spaces. How do you think the space has changed from when you founded Crypto Chicks to now?
Well, I see definitely much more female
I agree.
participation, if you
Yeah.
were to ask me, right? Because when we started, literally, you come to the conference and they will be like, you can count everybody on your fingers, right?
Wow.
Yeah. And today it's you look and it kind of you pretty even distribution probably.
I agree.
Yeah. So I think definitely it came a long way, and I do think it's a must for the space because we as a space need more people. We need more talent, and I think the talent needs to be balanced because if you are, as a developer, only focusing on one type of client, you only hitting that much of the market.
I agree.
So we tend to all have different skill sets. And I think by bringing all together, everyone together, that's where we start really building the products with a mass appeal.
What in crypto or Web3 right now do you think is the most overhyped? If there is something.
Meme coins?
Meme coins. Okay. Tell me about that. How come?
I'm just saying I'm not a fan. You know,
Not a fan of
not
meme
a fan.
coins. How come? Tell me.
Yeah.
Does that include Dogecoin?
You know, maybe Doge has a special space in my heart because
too.
because I actually met Doge the dog.
Yeah.
in
Oh,
person.
no way. That's
Yes,
amazing. In
yes.
Japan? Or?
Yes, in
Oh,
Japan.
very
Yeah.
cool.
So back in, I think it was 2018, there was DEFCON in Japan, and they brought oh my God, I forgot the name. I'm so sorry, I'm bad with that. But I have multiple pictures. You know, very cute dog. Unfortunately, passed away since then. But yes, definitely a little. It has a personal kind of attachment to me, right? But in general, I think I don't know. I am more pro something that's more impactful. You know, and impactful, I don't mean in a way. I'm sure lots of people made a ton of money on
And
meme
a lot of
coins.
people lost a ton of
And
money.
a lot of people lost, right?
Right.
It's typically zero-sum game.
Yeah, very true. Very true.
But for me, like I like to see value in different things and how we make things better for society. And how we're innovating. So Doji was innovative because it was a first. But after that, everything is a copycat. So how are you different, you know, ultimately? So just because you are a cat coin, you know, doesn't make you different in that regard. So I'm kind of, you know, I am maybe okay with the meme coins which have some story behind them, maybe some kind of charity aspect behind it, right? But in general, it's not part of the space I'm very interested in.
Well, I agree. And I think it's really interesting to get different perspectives for sure. When you kind of look at like the layer 2 space, I mean, there's probably, I don't know if you would say competition amongst the chains, but there, I mean, in some way there's competition for TVL, liquidity, things like that.
There is always a competition for a lot of things, yeah.
100%. How would you say like the future looks? Like, do you see kind of one L2 winning out or even one L1 winning out? Or do you see kind of a multi-chain future? And yeah.
So what my thoughts on that are as follows, right? So first of all, for sure, some chains are going to be dead chains. No questions there. Because building out and continue building out requires continuous capital inflows. You need to work on updates. You need to advance your technology. So, you know, some people are just not going to be interested in doing it in a long run. But in general, I see that, you know, there is this push towards interoperability within layer 2s, right?
Everyone's adding EVMs.
Exactly.
Yep.
And I think once we bridge that gap, it wouldn't really matter on which chain you are in some way. And I think the future is definitely multi-chain. And I think it's once we become interoperable, which will enable the capital flows and everything, I think it's going to be definitely multi-chain.
I agree with you. When you look at kind of the adoption of crypto and Web3, there's often a lot of hype around prices and things like that, and they don't always necessarily reflect the technology actually being built, which I think we talked about a little bit with meme coins. But when we look at kind of like maybe, you know, like the evolution of Ethereum, it's come a really long way. I mean, even the gas fees have just gone way down. I mean, I remember buying NFTs and they were just exploding, and people almost forget how expensive it used to be to buy gas fees. When we talk about Metis and layer 2s, how do you kind of see the future of like layer 2s if, you know, Ethereum keeps getting more and more efficient? Do you think there'll still be the same demand for layer 2s?
I think we need to keep pushing in all directions.
That's a great answer.
I think that we need to be pushing for Ethereum becoming more scalable and more efficient. So because there will be always, I believe, some applications which would want that extra security of being on the main chain as opposed to L2. At least it seems right now. I mean, it's hard to say what is going. This space is changing so fast.
Every day.
It's hard to say what's going to be in 5 years even, right? Because it could take completely different direction. Who knows? But I think we need to push Ethereum scaling for sure. But I think L2s also have their place. So for example, Hyperion that we talked about is specialized chain, we can call it, right? While our Andromeda AI chain, right?
Yeah, totally.
So, AI is not going to be on Ethereum, right? As an example. So I think there will be specialized chains that will still be having its market.
I completely agree with you. There was like an era of airdrops, right? A lot of airdrops for Arbitrum, all these different airdrops. And I've been in crypto since over 10 years. I was like a teenager. I was super young, just getting into crypto. So it's been my whole life. It's amazing to be able to work in this industry now. I never thought it would be an industry, honestly. It's like my dream job. So very happy about that. But there's kind of like, when I was younger, there's a lot of airdrops that kind of went away for a while and then it came back. Do you think the era of airdrops on Ethereum is over, or do you think we'll see another wave of airdrops?
On Ethereum?
Yeah, on things being built on Ethereum.
I think that things will continue building, and as long as we continue building, I think there will be some form of reward distribution to users. So I don't think it's necessarily will stop. I don't know if it's going to be like airdrop farming craze again that we experienced, right? I don't know about that one, but I think I wouldn't say that, no one will do airdrop anymore. What I do think is that we need to be more selective with airdrops and really reward strong participation, strong support, and early adopters and people who are really behind your community, behind your project.
How do you avoid the farmers or like the spam on airdrops?
I think it's very hard.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, recently we've seen a situation where some marketing companies have been using bots to promote certain content, right? So which is not good. How do you avoid it? I don't have a smart answer for you on this one.
It's a tough problem.
I think it's a very tough problem, and I think you just anything short of reviewing everything, who contributed, is it a bot, is it not? Maybe I can help sorting through this information actually and identifying, patterns, who is behind certain addresses.
That's interesting. No, it's definitely an interesting perspective. When we look at kind of like the global adoption of crypto, we're in Canada, here right now in Toronto, and it seems like the energy is coming back to America, Canada, and crypto. I feel like when there was a while, I was told like it's all going to move out of the US and Canada, it's going to be in Asia, and it's always been a global thing. But from your perspective, where are you seeing the most adoption globally of things like AI agents and crypto in general?
So for our ecosystem specifically, we've seen a lot of growth in Asia. I will be honest with you.
Yeah, no, I agree.
Yeah.
And why do you think that is?
I think maybe people are more greedy. They have more desire. Maybe people in the West are a little bit more well-fed, if you will. When you're more comfortable with your life, you feel that it's it's not a priority for you.
Right. Why change if it's not broken?
Exactly.
Totally.
But I find in the developing countries, people are very greedy and they are hungry for the growth, for making better life for themselves, for their parents, for their children. So I think they are looking for opportunities, and the Web3 and the AI presents these opportunities for people, and I think that's why.
What opportunities do you think it's like most giving people that is helping them?
Job opportunities, as an example, like I'm looking at our team. More than half of them actually work in Asia.
Where in Asia specifically?
It's
all over.
All over China, Taiwan, Singapore. Everywhere. Korea is a big market for us.
Yes, totally. Do you think as crypto adoption goes forward, it will remain in Asia like as a thing, or do you think like I'm American, like Americans are going to wake up maybe and start adopting it more? as regulation change, or do you think that has any impact?
It's tough to say. I think we need to have a high penetration for our industry across the board. And I think we definitely need to fight to bring more Web2 users into Web3. And by that, I don't mean dragging them by their, ears and saying, "Come to the dark side."
The light side, the light side.
But I think more building out solutions which are native and intuitive so that it's easy for people to interact with products, which are Web3 products. So maybe building something with the help of AI agents or whatever that makes it very easy for the people to interact. Because I think one of the beefs people have with Web3, like, okay, I'm going to be hacked. It's very complicated. I need to create a wallet. I need to do this. I need to do that. It's like too complicated. Forget about it. So I think if we automate these workflows and kind of make it as easy as, let's say you want to invest. You come to robo-advisor and it gives you 3 funds. Okay, balanced, aggressive, and conservative. Okay, you give your money, they invest, you don't see anything except how much you have and how much is grown, right? Or fell, whatever. So I think if we can make DeFi to that level, so where there is some front end and people just say, here's my money for you, and I would like to be conservative investor. What can you do for me? So I think that way you bring in a new capital and new users, but you need to make it easy for them. I think we are not right now. I think we need them more than need us.
I agree. It's crazy how that still is, honest. I think we need each other.
Yeah, we need each other, but I think it will be difficult. I think people who wanted to be here are already here.
True.
And those people who wanted to jump the hoops and do all the things. So in order to bring the next million, gazillion, billion, right, over, I think we need to improve the user interfaces significantly.
I completely agree. I think that's the biggest hang up right now for non-crypto people is they just feel like it's too complicated. They're going to lose their seed phrase. They don't know what the hell a key is, a private key is. They don't want to set up a wallet.
We currently, some of the solutions to that today is ETFs. Right?
Yeah, true.
So you have centralized companies who take your money, they invest in crypto, like whatever is approved, Bitcoin, Ethereum, blah, blah, blah. And they kind of do it for you, right?
Are you pro ETF?
I am pro ETF. I feel the more people we attract, whether it's through centralized means or decentralized means, the better. But because, right now they invest in through the centralized entity, but maybe tomorrow they'll say, why am I paying the guy, my 2% management fee, right?
That's like the fear fee. They don't want to lose their keys.
I know, but I think as the interfaces on the crypto side improve, more people will be comfortable with not going this route of centralized investment. And we'll try decentralized. So I feel like it's, for that reason, I feel like it's better that still, even they go centralized way, it's still better to have them than not to have them.
Totally agree. Well, just kind of as, I guess, a final question or, to wrap up, we're here in Consensus. This event has been absolutely amazing. We had the Futures event yesterday, ETH Women. Seems like the event space in crypto and Web3 is still super important, which is interesting because we talk more about how the world is going more and more online and decentralized, but we're all here together in person. How important do you think these in-person events are to the success of Web3?
I personally, my opinion is they're great.
I love them too.
And, I think it's like, before we used to work in offices.
Yeah.
And then COVID happened, and all of a sudden everyone is at home. And a lot of people miss this office environment where they used to come, talk to their neighbor, have a coffee, talk at the in a water cooler area, kind of bounce of ideas around together and really have exchange of human energy. So I feel it's like that. It's all good. We're all decentralized. We all live and work around the world 24/7. But occasionally I think it's good to get together and kind of feed off this energy, learn about what each of us is doing, because it kind of helps us to, first of all, to potentially grow our projects if we meet the right partners, right? But also just to really hang around like humans and connect.
Awesome. Well, thank you so much for the fantastic interview. I learned a lot, and I encourage you all to follow along and see what's next with Metis. Thank you so much.
You're welcome. Thank you for having me.
Thank you.